All righty. So we're live. Just give me a second. I need to go live everywhere else, apparently. Let's see. We're live here. Let me get here. All right. We're live, people, but I got to manually go live places, apparently. Didn't know that before. I know that now.
But
You
I
would
think that,
think we,
but I think there is a way that you could do them all at one time.
yeah, I haven't figured that one out. So Facebook puts a privacy on there. Like if I'm going live, why would I want it private? I don't understand.
What?
Um,
Oh yeah, yeah. You gotta fix. You gotta do something with your settings. It's simple.
I don't know. I don't
Cause,
know. I
'cause
gotta fix it somewhere.
yeah, you gotta fix it.
And then I have to go live here and then manually go live on Instagram. Everybody else is good. It's just Facebook and
But you
Instagram,
know,
they
because
got me doing
Facebook be
extra
extra.
steps.
But because Facebook and Instagram are extra.
hmm And that's that whole meta world. And you
Yeah, they
gotta
are
do
extra.
meta stuff.
They are really, really extra. Sometimes I'm like, you know what, y'all doing too much.
Exactly, exactly. Well, welcome, peeps. This is Let's Just Talk with Kim, and of course, I am Kim, and I have my lovely co-host Theodora Carter. I normally call her Theo because she is the girl. That's my buddy. That's my chum. That's my sister friend. I love her to death. No, I should say I love you to life, life and
Yes,
more, to affinity.
yes,
So,
yes, yes.
Theo, just take a moment. I always want you guys to say a little bit about yourself. So let the people know who you are.
Okay, so I am Theodora Carter, aka Theo, and I am a HR professional by trade. Like that's what I've done for over 20 some odd years. But I also am the founder and CEO of T Carter Coaching and Consulting, which is a certified coaching business and an HR consulting firm. And so I coach women to help them, just transform and reclaim their lives, right? To really, live the life that you desire to live. And especially, you know, being Gen X, right? I think I'm still Gen X. I think I might be going into the baby boomers, but anyway, right? Uh, but I just want women to know that, it's never too late
Mm-hmm.
to live the life that you desire to live, right? And so I'm really passionate about helping women reclaim their lives, change their narrative so that they can live the life that they want to live. And then on the HR consultant side, I work with small businesses that may not need a full-time HR person. So I'm the external partner and I'll do employee investigations, HR management stuff. And that's who I am.
Okay. She got a plethora
Oh
of
yeah, I'm the
things that
president of Girlfriends Pray Ministry, right?
yes,
You know,
yes,
so
yes.
yeah.
So, and that's where we met. We met on Girlfriends Pray. I'm now the executive director there. We have so many great friends around this globe. We are international, so we have people everywhere that we have connected with through Girlfriends Pray. So that's just, sidebar.
Yeah.
So tonight's topic is random topics. Let's talk about random topics. So it's just little things that I heard of that I was like, hmm. So
Mm.
one of the things that I want to talk about that I think is a real moment, there is this new dating site, and it's called Where White People Meet. And that is no prejudice, nothing. It's just funny. It's funny because where white people meet is everywhere.
So,
So
but where did you hear about this dating site? Like
I
where?
heard it on the radio. I heard it on the radio, and
What
it's all this
station?
outrage. We're not going to go there. It's all this outrage. I sent you, so you knew I was legit. I sent you the website that even said, about this site. It's a new dating, and it's exclusively for white people to have their own platform when dating, which I personally find interesting to say the least, because as an online dater, I find the majority of my likes is from white men. did. So
So that's the first thing that popped in my head. Like, I'm gonna be honest, right? And like you said, this is not intended to be racial or biased or
right,
whatever, right? But the first, when you said it, the first thing that popped in my head was, but and you know I don't do the online dating thing, right?
right,
Like,
right.
I've tried it and I last like 2 days and I'm off. But even in that time frame, the majority of the people that like my picture or whatever, right, are Caucasian. So make it make sense.
Right, exactly. Why do they need exclusivity on their platform for them? Now, the reason why you have Black people meet and all of these different things is because from an urban perspective, we do need to have those type of platforms so that we could connect together because we're not always coming together the way we need to. So it's harder for us to find because if you go on the workforce, for us, the majority is not people like us, is other
Mhm.
nationalities. So we try to find platforms where just we can find each other. But even when you do that, it's still every other culture but what you're looking for. Because even Black people meet, I've been on there for a minute and it was just everyone. Everyone was there.
But also, I think I wouldn't say it's a lot, but I think there are also a lot of people like me, right, who are like, you know what, I'm a little skeptical, right, about these dating sites. And then, when I talk to, like, if I talk to my brother who's a cop, he's like, nah, right, stay away, right? But I feel like it's another job, right? I'm like, I'm already super busy, and now I've added to my plate this dating site thing where I got to go on and look and review profiles, and I feel like I'm looking at resumes, right? So for me, I'm like, and then I think the one or two times that I tried it, I met like crazy people,
Mm.
right? And so I was like, nah, this is not for me. So I'm gonna have to figure out, like, God, could you just send somebody the traditional way,
Right.
please?
It's definitely we're going to be talking about online dating as it comes along up, as the weeks come forward. I'm going to actually have a little platform to talk about that with men and women. So, but it's definitely not for the weak at heart. It is almost like you're searching for an
Mhm.
employer or employee.
Mhm.
You do have to do a little bit of searching and confirming and do interviews and all of that other such, but you can find some decent people out there. You
I mean,
can. I've even had a couple of friends.
I will say that I have not actually, I will honestly admit, I don't think I've ever really given it a fair try, right? Because
Hmm.
like, literally, I'm not lying. I'll be like, okay, within 48 hours, I'm like, delete, shut down, I'm done, right? So,
That's because you don't have that kind of patience because
yeah.
you, from a HR perspective, you do that kind of vetting
Mhm.
all the time. You
Yeah.
vet all the time.
Mhm.
So then to come into your personal life and then vet, I can assume that it is a little bit tedious. But I just really thought it was just really crazy that they have white people meet only because I feel that Caucasians in most platforms are the majority. Like we got Match, we got eHarmony,
Mhm.
there's so many different platforms that is it I think more exclusive for them that it just surprised me that it would be where white people meet.
Well, he says in this article, right? He says, it's he said it's exclusionary. The title might be exclusionary, but anyone can join, right?
This is
But
true.
but someone looking at the title, like, if you look at the title, right? Like, if you look at the website, white people meet, right? Unless it says it on the which I don't think it does, you're not going to be prone to join because you're going to
Right.
think you can't, right?
And
But
although anyone can join, because then you would have a whole other issue, it
but
is
that's what he said.
exclusive.
he said anyone
is.
can join. It is right, but the reality is as someone that goes to the site, if it doesn't say it on the front of the site, like I don't know if he said that, I didn't look that deep. Your initial reaction might be,
This
I'm
isn't
not
for
going,
me.
it's not for me, right?
Right.
But the other side of it, right, is just to, and this is,
But maybe not, because Black People Meet do have other people on there as well, other cultures
yeah,
on there as
but
well.
you want to know why? Because how can I put this without sounding?
Yeah, you don't want to trend.
We I would say in most instances, not all the time, we don't tend to be exclusionary. Like we don't tend
Right.
to
Yeah.
exclude, right?
Right.
Regardless of what, right? We've been through or something that happened. We don't tend to say someone is not welcomed,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
I think that's rare, right? Whenever we do something like I don't find that we will be like, this is only for. Right. There might be some things that we say this is only for, but I don't think on a normal basis that's something we do, you know?
Right. Right.
So exactly,
Marquita
that's
said
it,
we're
right?
more
We're
welcoming.
welcoming. Yeah,
Right.
like
Exactly.
we're not like, oh no, you can't join, right? We're using like, yeah, everybody's welcome, right? Like we don't care. So, so I think that's the difference. So thank you,
Mhm.
whoever said that, because I was trying to say it
Marquita.
in a politically correct way, right?
Yeah, but that did, it just tickled me. It really did. And I thought that would be a good start to the random topics, the random thoughts, the random things that be going on in this world is just very, very interesting.
But
Um,
it's true because even in this article it says, "Do white people need where white people meet?"
right, because they're everywhere, everywhere. I could go down I guess it wouldn't be timeline, but whatever.
But you could probably look at your site, right?
Yeah,
And
and
I
it
would
would
say
be fi
it's
filled
probably
like
70%,
exactly.
right? White
Right,
males reaching out to you.
right.
Yeah.
It's like ice cream with a little dab of chocolate on top. Vanilla ice cream with just a little bit of fudge.
But
Just a
even
little fudge.
even when you like, you fill out your little profile, right? And you say what your preference is.
Hmm.
Even if you put your preference is just like
Doesn't matter.
they exactly.
Because sometimes I even had this conversation with one of my girlfriends. I said to her, "What is it about me that draws so many and so less of us? Like,
It's
why?
not just you.
Why?"
I guarantee you, if you talk to other women who actually use the site, because I'm not someone that can really speak to it, right? Because like I said,
Hmm.
I haven't really given it a try.
I thought you gave it a little bit more of a chance than that.
I think
Because
I
you
think
had invited me to one. You invited me to
I think
one.
the longest that I ever went is like a week,
Okay.
right? And even then, I didn't like really
So
respond.
you
Like I
got
was
me
just,
on this cornball site that I
which
was
site did
on.
I invite you to?
I forget what it's called. I don't think it's even still in my phone, but it was something. I was like,
I
what the
invited
heck she
you.
got
I
me
invited you, and then
into?
I left.
Yeah, I was like, what is
Oh yeah,
this?
and I think that was the time when I was like, okay, I'll do it with you, right? And then I didn't tell you that I stopped.
Right. And it
Okay.
was just like too much. And it was so much work to get into it. That's the other thing. It was
Oh
almost
yeah.
like a match. It was free, but it had all these things that you had to do. And then you had to wait until you were approved and then they would let you
Oh
in.
yeah, I remember that site because you know what? Who actually set that site up for me is one of my little sisters, like one of the young ladies that I like. She's like a little mentee. She actually created the profile for me. Like she sat there and was like, because she knew I wasn't gonna do it.
When I first got on a dating site, Tanya's the one who did it because I didn't have the patience to do it. I was like, I can't do this. She was like, give me your phone. And she set the whole thing up for me. It was like asking me questions. And it was like, da, 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 da. And then I just tweaked it. So she really put the site together, my girl.
But
Tanya.
But you should probably, and I don't even know how you would do it, right? Because I don't know how many people you can have on here. but maybe it's a Zoom thing, right? Where you do get like a male and female perspective, right, on this whole dating site or just dating in general thing, especially as older women, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I find, because we actually don't even look our ages also, right? A lot of times we end up getting approached by younger.
Yes, much younger. Much younger. Yeah.
Because even when I
Young
was
bulls.
because even when I was like, yeah, I was telling people I went to celebrate my nephew's 50th birthday. People were like, how, like people were like, one person was like 15. I said, no, I did not say 15. I said 50, 50.
Right,
Like,
right,
how do you have a 50? I was like, trust me, it's possible. Like, my sister is 11 years older than me, but also I don't look my age. So I
right,
think that's another thing, right? When it
right,
comes
right,
to the
right.
whole
Yeah.
dating thing.
I get that I don't look my age a lot of times, and people are shocked to hear what my age is.
Mhm.
But yeah, you get it when you do get hits from black men. A lot of them are younger,
Yeah.
much younger than you, and you like, or it'd be the lie, like they're 59 and they look like they're 17.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that's enough of
Hey,
that topic.
that was a good random topic though.
Yeah, that was. It was really good.
That was a
The
good
next,
topic.
yeah, the next topic, let me see, because I done forgot what the topic was. Give me a second. Uh, okay, this is one of our viewers asked this question. Do people really have it all? Do people really have it all? So when you look at life, sometimes you tend to measure your life up against other people
Mhm.
and their success. And they look like they actually have it all. They got the perfect job, the perfect mate, lovely children, like everything's rocking for them. They seem like they got the perfect crib, they got the fancy car, they got everything. And when she asked that question and said that to me, I was like, to me, no. And I think there is some level of sacrifice
Mhm.
that
Yeah,
you have to give. That's why I say no. Because you have to give some type of sacrifice. You don't have the absolute perfect life. What you think?
yeah. I mean, I think some people can have it all, but I think it comes down to what is your definition of having it all,
Right.
right? Because what might be having it all to me is different from you. So which is like, honestly, the my coaching aspect, right? Like when I work with women, right? It's an individualized, like my programs are not custom, they're customized to the individual,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because what one person might feel is, their vision for their life, or what having it all is different from what somebody else having it all is. But I will tell you, one of the things that gets people in trouble is what you said, right?
Right.
Some people they spend too much time comparing themselves to other people, right? So that's one thing, right? That may make you feel like you can't have it all, right? Because you're looking at this other person, right? But what that person has isn't necessarily what you're supposed to have, right? Because we know, right, that what's for
Mhm.
us is for us.
Right.
What
Right.
our purpose, our destiny, our whatever is, what's for us is for us. So it's when you get to that realization of what is having it all, like what, like, and a lot of people, when you ask that question, it takes, like, when I ask my clients, right, like, there are a couple of questions I ask that it takes them a minute to ask. First of all is, who are you, without the title,
So
not
just so y'all know, this is the coach Theo coming in. Go ahead, Theo. Go
not
ahead, coach.
not the the executive title, not the I'm a this, not the wife, the mother, the sister, whatever, right? Like, who are you without any of those titles, right? It takes people a minute to figure out or answer that question, right?
Right, right.
So I think
Because
it's
they look at the basic, they look at the things that people draw from them. Like, I'm a
exactly,
mother, I'm
yeah.
an employee,
Mhm.
I'm a doctor, I am whatever, you know, all these things. I'm a
Yeah,
parent. All of these, I'm a child.
yeah.
But they don't really look inwardly to see, recognize who they are as an individual without all of those other things.
Exactly, because that's why when someone loses their job, it has the potential to break them. That's why when someone breaks, you lose a relationship, it has the potential. Because I'm a girlfriend, right? Now, when they break up with you, like you're heartbroken, right? I'm a wife, and
Hmm.
that ends. When your children go off to school, right? You're empty nester. So that's why you really have to take some time thinking about, like, without all of these other things, who am I, right?
Right.
So I think it's the same thing with having it all. What does having it all mean? Because for some people, having it all might be, I'm satisfied with being a wife and a mother, right? And having a home, right? For some people, it might be, I'm satisfied with driving my hoopty. I don't really need a Mercedes, right? So I think it all comes down to figuring out what it is that means to you, right? And then, but I also believe, right? Again, Coach Theo, I also believe, and I'll say this from, because personally I've been through this, right? I've had a successful career, right? But then I went through, you know what I went through, right?
Hmm.
It took me to a
Hmm.
space. And while I was there and I was going through my healing, I realized, you know what? Life is good, right? But that wasn't really the life, like it wasn't really satisfying. Like I
And,
thrived in my
and
career. I'm
one of the main things is having it all, and what that means to you, it changes as you grow, as you
exactly.
change. So having it all can mean one thing as you're growing up, as a younger child, of what you want your life to be, and to
Mhm.
you, that's what having it all is. Then when you get older, in our age range, having it all means something totally different than what it did in your 20s, what it did in your
Yeah.
30s, 40s, 50s. It's all going to make, even beyond, it's going to be different each and every time. And for me, I feel like, to me, it's why I say sacrificing something,
Mhm.
because you, to be happy, you're not, in my humble
Mhm.
opinion, having everything is never going to make you
Never lines
happy.
up. Yep.
It's never going to make you happy. And you have to make a decision what is really important to you at the point in your life, and sacrifice all the rest.
But
Let everything else go. Let everything else go.
but like with me, like I felt like, you know what, honestly, for me, I fell into my career, right? I fell into
Hmm.
being in HR, and then I thrived in it. And so I was good at it. I was being promoted. Like I went from an administrative assistant to exec, right? So I was thriving, right? So I'm still going, right? Because one, I'm good at it, but then it's also people begin to think, well, that's what you're supposed to be doing, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
then I got to the point of where, you know what? Yeah, I thrive in this, but I want to do this in a different way, right? I want to be a more of a consultant, right? But I think also to the point you made, we evolve, right? And so that changes. But I also think part of it is also when people, places, and things are what defines our happiness, then we're never going to have it all, right? Because yeah,
Exactly.
because
Exactly.
it is a sacrifice. When we're looking at external things, when we're as the barometer for what makes us happy, right? Then yeah, because you're never like, some people it happens, right? But for most of us, you know, things you might be thriving in your career, but then your personal life is not going well, right? Like you might be thriving in this area, but like, and we've experienced, right, a lot of loss, a lot of death,
Hmm.
like a lot of
Hmm.
tragedy, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
so when you are grabbing onto external things, yeah, you're going to be making sacrifices, and you're not going to think you can have it all, because in reality, the things that you are dependent on and as the barometer for your happiness, when one of those things are out of whack, then that means you're no longer happy, right? And now
Right.
you no longer have it. But when you're drawing from this external place, right, of
Hmm.
where you really are taking care of yourself. Like for me right now, it's all about peace, right? So I got into the place where if I don't want to do something, I'm okay with saying no.
Right.
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 So and that's it. Exactly. We are not intentional about self-care. We are not intentional about putting ourselves first, right?
Right.
We are so this statement that Shelly made is so on point because we are so focused on take because we're nurturers
Mhm.
naturally, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Especially women of color, like she said, we're always taking care of somebody else, right? So it is hard to lose that title, and that's why it takes work. Like you will always hear, like if you hear me talk, you hear Trey talk, right? Some of my other friends that are like coaches, like if you're ever around a bunch of coaches, you get sick of us, right? Because the one thing you will hear us say is when you do we've all done the work,
Right.
which is why we can speak right in this way. Because we're not saying we're perfect and we're still doing the work. But also the coaches that I in my circle, we all still have coaches,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So and
Because
not
that
only
never stops.
right and not only do I have a coach, I also have a therapist because I believe
Mhm.
my therapist is preventative care, right? So I don't wait until something is wrong, right? I meet with her like I when I was going through something, I met with her often. Now as preventative, I might meet with her once a month, right? Just to check in. But I do feel like a lot of it is being intentional, right? Because you have to be intentional about making sure you take time for yourself.
Mhm.
You have to be
Absolutely.
you have to be intentional about gratitude, right? It's so easy for us to get up and the you have negative thoughts in your mind, right? So when I get up, when I look in front of me, you've been here on my
Mhm.
wall. There's a message that say today I can't remember the whole thing, but it talks about believing that everything right is going to be a wonderful day. Then when I come and sit in my remote office, I got a sign that says today is going to be a great day, right? So all around me, you see what I have in my guest bedroom, right? It says lay down and go to sleep, right? Because God got it, right? So
Right.
throughout my house, I've created a sanctuary of affirmations, right? That so that I can be more intentional about shifting my mindset, right? So I believe in intentionality. So a lot of my coaching programs, when I work with a client, I start out the first thing after we figure out like what it is they want to work on. I'm like, before we go anywhere else, we got to work on mindset. Because if you don't believe that you deserve, right, what the Bible says, what does John 10 say? If we don't believe that, right? If we don't believe that we deserve to have a life of abundance, a life of
Mhm.
peace, a life of harmony, that we could create the life that we want, if we don't believe that, then how do you begin to do the work?
Right. Right. Yeah, I think that that's a really good point that you have to do the work on yourself and you have to recognize what it is that gives you inner peace, gives you inner joy before you can look at externally about the things that you have because the things that you have can be here today and gone tomorrow. So after that, what is left? What is it that you need to hold on to for yourself? And those are the things that no one can take away from you. No one can move in you. No one can tear away from you because it's within you and it's yours. And God created you with a
Yeah.
purpose for you to strive and to do great and wonderful things. So therefore, that purpose in your life is really who you are, not what's around you. So these are just things that are fleeting. They come and they go. That you never know when you'll lose something, you know what I'm saying? Like for me, like I've always had a car, a vehicle.
Mhm.
So last year my vehicle was stolen 2 years. twice
Mhm.
in a couple of months, my car was
Yeah.
stolen. Then the second time that they stole it, then next thing you know, I got major problems with the car and ended up needing a new car, and I wasn't prepared for it. But God made a way. And then I literally, even though it is a little more taxing on me, I had to stop and say to myself, Lord, I'm grateful.
Mhm.
I'm grateful that I have this car. I like my car, and I'm
Mhm.
grateful to you that you have allowed me to have this car. I might have to put a little more work in to make sure that everything is taken
Mhm.
care of, but I'm grateful that I have the opportunity to have this car because I didn't have to.
But that's the other thing, right? The other thing is practicing gratitude, right? Because
Mhm.
also this is the thing that I learned, right? In my journey, right, is the rejection, right? And when something is taken away from you, it is God's protection. Because sometimes we are holding on to things that we need to let go, right? Sometimes we are holding on to things so tight. Like God is like, if you don't let that go, I can't bless you with what I really have for you, right?
Right. Right.
And so like for me, like when I went through, I'm a quick snippet, when I went through my thing, right? The breakup that I thought was gonna, like I thought was the one was gonna take me out, right? But then I realized there was purpose in my pain,
Mhm.
because that rejection was God's protection, right? And it took me on a journey of really figuring out what was wrong with me. And I don't mean like there's something wrong with me, because I think I'm a pretty awesome person, but there was something going on that I kept picking the same person, but in a different body,
Right.
right?
Right.
But what I realized is I was loving love more than I was loving myself.
Mhm.
Right. And so when I was loving love more than I was loving myself, I was making excuses, I was settling, I was tolerating stuff that I shouldn't have been
Mm.
tolerating, right?
Right. Right. Right.
And so that's why I say also sometimes we have to look at it as this, right? Sometimes that car being stolen twice, there was a reason for that,
Right.
right?
Right. Absolutely.
There's a reason for
Absolutely.
that. And so if you believe, and I always end up getting here, I'm sorry. Romans 8:28, that's my scripture,
Yeah, all things work together for good.
right? But the problem was that was my scripture, but I wasn't really believing it and standing on it until I went through the journey that I went through. And I was like, you know what? I get it. This is why that was my scripture all this time, because God was like, listen, I need you to really feel that. I need you to recognize
Mhm.
that there is nothing that I'm going to do in your life that is not for your good. It might take you a while to recognize that,
Right. Absolutely.
right? But sometimes we hold on to stuff so tight that God's like, listen, I can't give you what I want to give you because you're not making room for it. I need you to let some stuff go.
Right.
All right,
Exactly.
I'm gonna stop preaching because you're the minister. Let me stop.
That's fine. It's fine. And you ain't gotta throw me all out there like that. But it's fine.
I'm like, listen. I ain't supposed to listen. I'm not
You
the one.
doing fine. Listen, everyone who is under the word is a minister of the word. Okay. You can share as much as you want to share. Come
But
on,
that's
girl.
just my
Hey,
that's just
Dr.
my
T.
experience. I listen. I just know that everything that I am, everything that I have is, you know, I'm nothing without him.
And that's the real key to having it all.
Hmm.
Recognizing that you're nothing without God.
Hmm.
Recognizing that you need God for everything, for
Hmm.
every breath you take, for every move you make, for everything that you do in life. That's what's having it all, in my opinion. That's when you
Hmm.
know you have it all. When you're satisfied with just God.
Yeah. Like
Just
when you
God.
really get to that point where you know what, if everything was taken away from me, right? That's it.
Right, exactly. One of my things that I always pray is, Lord, if you have done so much, but
Mhm.
if you decided to not to do another
Mhm.
thing, I'll praise you just the same.
Yeah. But you know the
I'll
thing is,
pray. But the thing
we've been
is,
through,
he's too good.
but
He's
we've
too
been through
good to
so
do
much
that.
together, right? Like we've
Yeah.
been in the years that we've known each other. I mean, we've laughed, we've cried, we pray for each other, right? And the reality is that that's the other thing, right? You got to have people in your circle. Like I know without a shadow of a doubt, because of our ministry, that even without me asking, I know somewhere someone's praying for me,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
And I know that if I get a text from you, hey, pray, I don't even need to ask you what's going on. I'm
Right.
just gonna pray. And
Right.
I know vice versa, right? But I think the other side of it is just realizing that without God, like what and you know what, and I'm not trying to be churchy because you know we not churchy, but because we still work in progress. But I just do, and I had to get to this place, right?
Right.
And this,
Absolutely. We
but
all do.
this is part of the evolving,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because in my 20s and 30s, I probably wasn't talking like this, but I had to go through some stuff. I had to experience some stuff.
Wait, I remember when I was young and I used to at my old church, Mount Zion, when I was growing up, and everyone would give it. We had testimony service, so everybody would give their testimony, and I'd be like, "Tag, Lord, I don't have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have nothing." I often think about that,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I just want to punch myself in the mouth.
Because he said, "You don't have nothing. I'm gonna give you some testimonies." You got to
I
give you
just, I'm just gonna be real. Sometimes I just want to punch
he,
myself in the mouth.
he said, "Okay, I'm gonna give you some testimony." I will tell you, and you know, and then you know, I probably gotta jump in a minute, but I will tell
Yeah,
you the most
we
life
gotta wrap up.
changing thing for me is, and you know, you lived this with me, is I had in my head, right, how I had in my head that I was gonna be sitting at my daddy's bedside holding his hand, right, when he
Mm,
was 90, 100 something, right, and to walk in to his apartment and find him
mm,
right on the floor. That was life changing for me, right? Because
right.
in my mind, I had already made up in my mind how my story was going to end with my dad, right? Like I was going to be, you know, because that was my dude, right? And,
Mhm,
and that was the first time when I realized that, you know what, God is God.
mhm, mhm,
He's ready
mhm.
for someone. He's ready for someone, and you might not understand why it happens the way it happens, right? But like literally, that was the beginning of like my. Because then after that, like you know, I was like having back to back stuff, right? But I think at the point that I broke, where I went into that like functional, it was like I was like, "Yo, God, I've been good. Like I'm serving in the church. I'm doing all this stuff. Like why? Like I literally was like, I'm breaking up with you, right?" He was like, "All right, cool, but you talking to me every day to tell me that you breaking up with me every day you coming to
But ain't
tell
that how we do? Ain't that how we
me."
do? We talk to you every day.
Right. But he's
Like
like,
you get on my nerves. Look what's going on. Don't you see? Don't you see what's happening to me?
but the reality is that even through it all, he never like left me. Like I could not get through that. Like
Mhm.
that like to this day, right? Like, you know, I'm really proud of myself right now because normally I would be crying, right? But to this day, that like I will never I could tell you from the time I got the phone call to the time I got to his house to the like to the door open, I could give you step by step, right? Everything that happened, like with my uncle open a window, us like every like the comp every like everything, because that for me was like wow, right? And
Mhm.
so I will say, you know, just to get back to the topic is can you have it all? I think you can have it all when you finally sit down and recognize what does having it all mean,
Right. Right.
right? Because I think when we don't really sit down and figure out what having it all means, then yeah, we might not ever have it all because we're looking for external factors to you know, make us feel good.
Well, we definitely going to keep this conversation going. We're going to do some more random little topics from time to time, and just maybe even next week. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Got checked, but
Listen,
this was good
you
stuff.
just tell me what we do. I just, I just show up. You like, I don't even be knowing what's gonna happen. I'm just gonna.
Bless God for it. Well, Theo, let the people know where they can find you.
Well, I am Theodora Carter 428 on Instagram. I am Theodora Carter 428 on Facebook. Email is Theodora T Carter at no, it's info at theodoratcarter.com. Right, but my everywhere on social media, especially Facebook and Instagram, I'm Theodora Carter 428, and 428 is
And
a holiday.
okay, that's a very important holiday. That's our birthday, y'all. We believe birthdays are international holidays.
Yeah,
You take off from work the whole
yeah,
nine. Mine is April 19th. Hers is
exactly.
April
That's a holiday.
28th. It's a national holiday. So you all can find me everywhere. Let's just talk with Kim. Thank you for joining us this evening. We will be back next Monday. So look out for us at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for that, all I can say is bye.
Good night.